Episode 2 just released, and we learned a lot more about Jax's personality. In the majority of the time, he acted much meaner than in episode 1. Beforehand, we thought he was going to be depressed because of the scene where we see him moving his finger in the water, but when we actually saw the episode, we saw that he was actually being cruel. He's had a little bit of character development in some of these scenes, like when we saw Jax interacting with Zubal. After Kane announces the new adventure, she says she's not going, and Jax asks her if she doesn't want to mess with the new AI. Their dynamic seems to be interesting because, while Jax can manipulate others like GLE or Regatha, it seems like Zubal does not care what Jax has to say. However, he seems to also respect her. After Zubu leaves, Jax breaks the fourth wall by looking at the camera and shrugging, which I didn't even notice until now. After the scene, Kane pushes the circus members through the gate and into the Candy Canyon Kingdom, where Jax only gets excited when he sees the truck that the princess provides. He says, "Ooh, violence," which was the line that Gooseworx shared out of context. Now, it makes perfect sense why Jax said it. We can also see how, after they're left alone and all of the main characters are sitting in the truck, Jax immediately starts to act like he was in charge. He pulls out the candy shotgun, which we saw in the trailer as well, and he points it at Jangle, telling her what to do. It seems like Jax is trying to keep himself sane by being mean to everyone and causing chaos. In the next shot, he grabs Pommy by her neck and throws her out of the roof of the truck. I'm thinking that he would literally sacrifice any of the other circus members just so he can keep himself sane. This is why Gooseworx said that there is nothing heroic about Jax. He's completely self-absorbed. In the next scene, he's telling Gengle to ram into the other truck, and when Ragath tries to warn him that Pomni on top, he just pushes Raga out of the way and says to Gengle, "Do it! It'll be epic." Jax also says, "Do it, or I'll tell Raga about the figurine thing." And this seems to be blackmail. This makes me think about how Jax is probably involved with the lives of the others in the circus, and probably knows a lot of little details about everyone else, so he can use that information to his advantage if he needs to, which is, of course, blackmail. If you remember back to episode 1, when Jax, Pomni, and Regatha went to see Kofmo, Jax pulled out the key to Kofmo room and said that he put centipedes in Regatha room. So, it also makes sense that Jax has a key to Gengle room as well. As for why Gengle doesn't want Regatha to know about the figurine thing, I'm not even sure what that is. Maybe Gengle makes figurines of the NPCs and circus members, and for some reason, the one she made about Regatha might be embarrassing or weird. Maybe what she does with the figurines is weird, and maybe she doesn't like Ragatha. I'm not 100% sure, but it is interesting that Jax is manipulating Gengle by saying he will snitch on her. Not only is Jax evil, but he will use other people's secrets to his advantage. The thing is, Ragatha is super kind to everyone, even after Pomni left her to die twice. So, I'm not sure why Gengle would be worried if Ragatha is going to find out about the figurine thing. What I'm thinking is that Jax doesn't really care about telling Raga Gengle's secret. He cares about getting Gengle into a state of panic where she would do anything he wants, which is really twisted. If you look at it, this is the only time that Gengle smiled while she was sad. The fact that he would also kill Pomni if it meant to make the adventure more exciting is actually crazy. However, I think that it is true that the circus members can't die in the circus world because Ragatha literally got stabbed through the heart. When they were looking for Pomni, I'm pretty sure Kinger said, "We can just ask Kane to find Pomni if it comes to the worst." He was still willing to abandon Pomni and let stuff happen, because it is true that the circus members do still feel pain. I'm sure the part where Ragatha got stabbed through the heart was excruciatingly painful. In the part where they fell into the chocolate lake, the fudge monster tells a story about eating the townspeople. Ragatha says that it's murder, and the chocolate fudge monster says, "Is it really murder if it's delicious?" Jax says, "Great point." This shows how Jax actually thinks about himself in this situation, where he gets enjoyment out of seeing others suffer or even die. That's just nasty. If he really justifies his actions by these morals, that means that he's not remorseful. There might be some character development here. If we fast forward to a later part of the episode, where the characters are back in the tent and they're having the funeral for Kaufmo, Ragatha explains to Pommy how they like to hold these ceremonies to remember those who abstract. Kinger says it's the least they can do. When it cuts to Jax, you can actually see his face softening for a split second. Then he returns to his room and doesn't attend the funeral. What I'm thinking is that maybe Jax grew to like Kaufmo, but he can't let himself show any emotion to the other circus members except for being annoyed or violent, which is his mask to protect himself. When the circus members give their speeches, we can't hear what they're saying. We can only see that everyone liked Kaufmo, and they feel like they lost someone out of the group. When you spend a lot of your time with someone, you start to care about them. Even if Kaufmo jokes weren't the absolute best, as we know from episode 1, it seems that the characters still loved him, so they had a funeral for him. We can see that Jax had a nickname for Kaufmo, and he has his bowling ball in his room. Maybe Jax and Kaufmo were spending time together, and that's why Jax cared about Kaufmo. He just didn't want to show that to portray this tough guy act. Interestingly, when we saw the scene where Jax is sitting alone in the sunset looking all sad, that wasn't the character development we thought of. Instead of Jax being remorseful about his actions, he's just sad that the adventure was boring because nothing violent happened. It's weird to see how Gengel and Raga are towards Jax. When he said he was disappointed with the adventure, Raga told him that maybe the next one is going to be more in his favor. She must have known that would mean she would suffer even more, because thanks to Jax, Raga got a knife in her head. We know how the characters can feel pain, so I'm thinking that they're used to Jax's cruelty, or maybe Raga just wanted to comfort him, because she didn't want tension between them. She does say a lot of things that she probably doesn't mean, putting her own feelings aside and wanting everyone to feel loved, showing her motherly figure. It is very admirable to see how much Raga cares about everyone, even if they don't care about her. For example, when Pommy and Gummy Goo are hurt, Ragatha immediately runs over like a mother would and asks if Pommy is okay. In the next episode, I'm thinking we'll figure out a lot more about Jax because we're seeing his personality unfold even more. I'm happy that he didn't shoot anyone with the candy shotgun he had, but I'm hoping that he'll also try to become a better person. I think we might see him be even more evil in the next few episodes. However, I do hope that we'll see a little bit more of his relationship with KFO because, based on his face, it looks like he got a little bit emotional about Kaufmo abstracting. It makes me wonder if Jax had something to do with Kaufmo abstracting, and maybe that's why he's feeling a bit sad. He did look a bit annoyed after we saw the bit of emotion come through his face, so maybe he remembered somebody else who didn't get a funeral. Maybe it's possible, but honestly, I don't think that he made any real friends in the circus yet. Gooseworx said no one in the circus actually likes Jax. However, Raga still loves him and is super admirable. I would not be able to do what Raga does, or maybe I could, but I'd be struggling. We actually do know that Jax got in the circus when he was quite young. Gooseworx also said that he deserves to be in the circus the most out of all characters, so that would mean that his personality wasn't that nice even in his human form while he was younger. What I'm thinking is that acting this way is his way of coping in the video game of the amazing digital circus, which is understandable but in a twisted way, obviously. I'm wondering if the other circus members might snap at one point and start to match Jax's attitude. I think that he would be very taken off guard if someone acted the same way to him as he is acting to others. Hopefully, he will change. We see a trailer for episode 3 where Jax is nicer for once, but we did assume wrong with the episode 2 trailer, but that's beside the point. Let me know what you think about Jax in episode 2. To me personally, he was cruel. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and click on this video here.